You know, there was a time when society simply expected a man to provide financially for his wife and kids. But today, things are very different. We know how important it is for fathers to play a stronger role in the lives of their children. The father-child relationship can have a positive influence on a child's well-being. Well, here with advice on how men can better connect with their children is Glenn Smyly, speaker and co-founder of the Alivening Project. Welcome, Glenn.
Well, thank you, Meredith. It's a privilege to be here today.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So tell me a little bit, what is it that children are wanting or expecting from their fathers?
We think that what children really want is to be loved, they want acceptance, and they want approval. And our ability to communicate that to them gives them the opportunity to fulfill our expectations. And if we don't give them our approval, they certainly will go for our disapproval.
And that's exactly what we don't want.
Exactly.
And when you say that, you're meaning, you know, going for, if you can't get positive attention, going for the negative attention.
Absolutely, and they're very good at it.
And sometimes without even realizing it.
Right.
So in avoiding that, I mean, some men today may have had a father in their home, but not necessarily the hands-on situation that we find today, especially with working mothers. Mm-hmm. So how can a father start working on interaction between themselves and their child?
Well, a good way for fathers to connect with their children is that sacred time of the day, which is bedtime. If we would take 10 minutes and spend that with our children, letting them debrief from the day, saying their prayers, letting them communicate whatever they want to, and ask any questions they want to and answer them, we will find out more in that 10 minutes than we would find out all day long about what's going on in their life.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like a magical 10 minutes then.
It's a magical 10 minutes, and what it teaches them at an early age is to communicate what's going on, so that as they get into those teen years, they're now willing to communicate with us what's really going on.
It sets the groundwork so that there's familiarity there, but there's also a routine there.
Yeah.
And it'll come out a little, you can't just automatically expect when you want the information for it to be given, and that sounds wonderful. So how about a way to create, or things that fathers should avoid that they may not even realize they're doing?
A big thing that fathers could avoid is lying to their children. When you give your word to your children, it's important that you keep it. You tell them what you're going to do, you keep your word. And if you can't, it's important that you communicate with them that you can and how come. What's in the years, they're now willing to communicate with us what's really going on.
It sets the groundwork so that there's familiarity there, but there's also a routine there.
Yeah.
And it'll come out a little, you can't just automatically expect when you want the information for it to be given, and that sounds wonderful. So how about a way to create, or things that fathers should avoid that they may not even realize they're doing?
A big thing that fathers could avoid is lying to their children. When you give your word to your children, it's important that you keep it. You tell them what you're going to do, you keep your word. And if you can't, it's important that you communicate with them that you can and how come. What's in the way of you keeping your word with them. You don't want to use your spouse as your secretary or your bad news messenger. You want to let them hear directly from you.
Sure. So if there is a situation where you've got to stay late at work, miss the baseball game or something like that, make sure the communication is one-on-one with you and your child.
Right, between the two of you.
So when interacting, you say that there's always something that you want to teach them in the situation, in that interaction.
Yeah, we always come from, what do I want to teach them? In the situation that's going on, I try to draw out from them how they're going to resolve their problem. Instead of giving them my advice, I listen to them. I may share my experiences that may be similar to what they're going through, but then how are they going to handle it? And then we brainstorm until they find the solution for themselves, and it teaches them then to problem solve in their life as they get older.
And that's a good idea too, because it's not always coming and saying, fix this for me, but rather let's explore how you can fix it for yourself, because there may be the day that I'm not able to be here to tuck you into bed one night and you need some advice, and you're going to be able to start working it out on your own.
Right. My son came to me with a problem with a middle school. When he was in middle school, this one girl was giving him a really hard time. And he was upset about it. And so he asked me, he said, why, you know, finally he asked me for information, and he asked, why is she so mean to me? And I said, well, Michael, it must be that you hurt her feelings sometime. She really likes you, and you hurt her feelings not knowing it, and so she got angry, and now she's being nasty to you. So if you go back to her and you apologize, like you didn't mean to hurt her feelings, you didn't mean to upset her, and you want to be her friend, then it will smooth over and you'll be friends again. And so he went to school and he did that. And it worked. He came home, he was beaming. He said, Dad, I had that conversation. I apologized to her for hurting her feelings, and now we're good friends.
Oh, and then that reinforced the bond that you have with him.
Yes.
And it makes him feel more positive about the experience with you. And although you can't always fix every child's problems or situations,
right,
but knowing that you're there and that they can rely on you is helpful. Now, you were also talking, I mean, you've got 6 children of your own.
I have 6 children from the ages of 47 to 11.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of experience.
I have grandchildren that are older than my children. And when we get together, it's Aunt Who and Uncle Who. But I have a child at Rutgers, a sophomore at Rutgers. I have a freshman at Loyola Marymount in California. I have a high school girl here in Sterling.
Oh,
and then I have my son is in high school, a senior in high school in Florida, and Ashley is in the 6th grade.
So with 6, this is a question that you're going to have the answer to, I hope. Family night. Having a family night or having time to be able to spend with your kids, is it realistic?
It is realistic. We are in a busy time in our lives. We all have things to do. However, if we plan out a family night, we put it on the calendar, and everybody knows that's family night. Mm-hmm. So that's
it sounds so great, and then reality crashes down.
Well, it's scheduled in, and then everyone gets to pick a different event each week. So one will take us out to dinner. We'll all go out to dinner, at Steak and Ale. The other one will maybe want to go to the movies. And
sure,
then one may want to stay home and play board games.
And that keeps everyone interested. And as a dad, this is another thing that goes back to the idea of keeping your word.
Keeping your word and having quality time with your children.
Excellent. So how are other ways that you recommend spending quality time with your kids? I know you were talking to me a little bit about what you do with your children and the priority in determining it. Talk to me about that.
Well, we based on what they like to do, we'll find something to do together. Like Ashley and my 11-year-old, she likes ice cream, and so do I. And so it's a trip to Marble Slab after school when I pick her up, or at night when we have a little time, we'll slip off to Marble Slab and have some ice cream. Michael, he's 18, he's into football. USF now is doing great in Tampa, and so it's all about football for him and I. And then as a family, we watched American Idol. Ashley is a singer, and she loves the show, and so we watched that. And when the American Idol tour came to Tampa, I bought a couple of tickets and took her to the show, and we had a good time together.
You know what? Not only is that a fun, great time that you're spending with your kids, but it's really a testament to them about how well you know them. And getting to know your child and being able to identify favorite activities, hobbies, foods, whatever it might be, is really important, and that really says something. Years later, they're going to remember that.
And I'll always remember that with them.
I love that. My dad did do that with me. I don't know if you heard, I was talking to Arzu and saying, he used to take us out and have us take pictures, and we'd talk about what we took pictures of and the wildlife and different things like that, and I was always the adventure queen. So I loved that. I always felt like I was on an adventure, and I think that's really important, to be able to find that special bond with your children.
Yes.
So how about dads who travel a lot? Because it's, it can be difficult.
Well, with that, I travel a lot myself, so that's, I have experienced a lot with this. And it's important that we communicate with our children several days before we're going to leave, before we're going to go away. Let them know where we're going, what we're going to be doing while we're there, when we're coming home, and how they can connect with us, how they can reach us if they need to. And then each day we let them know, we remind them now I'm going to be leaving.
And again, it's one-on-one.
Yeah, one-on-one.
It's not through a messenger or anything like that, right?
It's directly with us, and give them a way that they can contact us if they need to. So they're ready.
That's wonderful. So it's not it's some way directly that they can contact you,
Right.
the father.
Right.
If they need something, even if it's an email or a text message or something like that, as opposed to, don't worry, your mom's going to be here to take care of you, which can make
it's
you
personal
probably
connection
feel a little
with you and your
disconnected.
child. And with Ashley, she has a little brown doggy that she sleeps with, and it's her favorite. And she'll fill it up with hugs and kisses and make me take it in my suitcase so that she's present with me when I'm traveling.
Oh, Glenn, thank you so much for being here today. I'm wondering if that little doggie's in your suitcase right now.
Yeah.
You seem awfully happy, so I know you've got lots of love. So thank you so much for sharing your tips with us.
Well, thank you for having me.